The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Get involved with Access Fort Wayne and make your own television programming. Call 421-1250 to find out more.
No, we're just getting started.
Right. Perfect. This is probably our favorite part, is when you walk right in, right? So we have our front desk and reception services. I saw someone out there, Faith. So Faith is actually our head of our concierge services. So we actually have concierge services for the Parkview Cancer Institute. You know, a big focus for us is to work on making sure the patient experience for themselves and their whole family, their journey is seamless throughout the entire process, from the time in which they think they may have cancer, the time in which they go through their treatments, and then obviously afterwards in survivorship and recovery. So a big part of that is that little face that you see hiding back up there. So Faith, you can wave. Faith Haynes hiding back there, very shy. She actually leads a whole slew of concierge services that will help make sure that patients feel very welcome and warm and really wrap our arms around them from the minute in which they step through those doors over there.
And I would just add on this concierge piece, very hotel friendly. So as folks enter, patients, families, they'll be greeted by a concierge, not scrubs, not your traditional walk-in medical office. We are talking suits, dress. They are here to greet, take the patients, be by their side, walk them where they need to go, but to really treat it as a concierge perspective. So
we want them to get to know people so that when you walk in, they can call you by name. Many of our patients will return several times for treatment, so we really want them to get to know them. I say I'd love for them to be able to say, "Hi Ray, how was your grandson's baseball game last night?" And I think that's a wonderful connection to get to know the individual and their family.
Any questions about those services? Okay, perfect. Walk them back
they would like to see the gift shop.
All right, gift shop.
Non-traditional.
As you're walking down the hallway to the gift shop, on your left-hand side is where individuals can come in and have their labs drawn. So it'll be processed right here in the building. Very quick turnaround time that way.
Both you guys step into the gift shop here and we'll come behind you. How's that?
Our gift shop here is actually different from any other gift shop that we have on our Parkview facilities. It's focused on our cancer patients and their needs. We've tried to create an environment that has some very special items in it, such as the Emily Kai head coverings and some of the necklaces and that are special. She's here, a local person that puts that together. And as you look around, you'll see some creams, and it's just meant to be a very nice, welcoming environment. And we've had some assistance with actually Donna Kelly and Kristen Packnett helping us to identify some nice things that they think other individuals that are going through cancer would appreciate.
We really wanted to take a non-traditional approach and really make it more boutique style, which you won't see in any other gift shops, typically in healthcare.
Very comfortable. Like, these are so soft.
No, we also have to buy some of those.
Yeah.
It's funny when we're doing some of those tours and open houses, the girls in here will say, "Just touch everything, it's so soft." I mean, you just said that. It just comes out.
It looks soft.
Everything is, yes.
So we'll go back to the radiation.
Radiation.
Sorry. Thank you.
Want to go through registration?
I think we can go through, and then Gina, they're actually doing
Yep,
some
we're gonna head down this way here.
training back here, I think, is what Eric
Yes.
said. It is. No, for imaging.
So we'll wait for everyone to catch up. So as we take you through the building, there are a variety of check-in areas. This is check-in for imaging. So down on the first floor, we have imaging. We have a CT scanner. We have a new MRI machine. New MRI machine, MRI is registered by how powerful the magnet is. So a magnet's measured in Tesla. So this is a 3 Tesla magnet. So it has very high resolution for the patients, which is obviously very important for our cancer patients. It also has a dual purpose that in the nighttime, it can also do some imaging for our neurosurgery services as well. So we're pretty excited to add an additional MRI machine with this type of capability, this type of technology to our health system. Obviously, CT scans play a backbone of what we're doing as well. And then also on the first floor, we have radiation oncology. So our 3 radiation oncology machines are down here, radiation oncology offices, check in for radiation oncology as well. Probably the most popular machine, the one that we talk about the most, is called CyberKnife. So CyberKnife is not actually a knife. It's a high intensity, high gamma wavelength, concentrated radiation. What that lets us do is it lets us spare vital organs or vital structures around an area that we want to target for radiation. What we'll often have to do is implant seeds around a tumor, and particular organs that we deal with are lung, pancreas, and brain cancers in particular. So in these cancers, we can implant these little seeds. These seeds are inert, and then we can map and contour around the tumor, and then the knife actually targets itself to that tumor. So we'll see those machines as we get back around the corner as well.
So around this way then. In the corner right here is where our genetic counseling office is. We're going to head this way through imaging.
Oh, yeah.
Becca will be working in this building a lot.
Go in? You may.
Okay.
What we call a digital rat machine, just a more traditional machine. More traditional.
We'll let you come into the room on the right there.
Look at their ceiling. This is our CT scanner.
Very serious.
Everyone's very focused on their work.
And is the new building gonna be for in and out patients or?
It's for outpatients, yeah, not only for outpatients. So the vast majority of cancer work ends up becoming outpatient work, right? So we have patients admitted when they're very ill, if their blood counts drop, post-surgery or pre-surgery. The rest of the time, the majority of the time, 80% or plus, we end up giving patients treatments as an outpatient. It's cost effective for the patient, it lets them be with their family, lets them get the treatments that they need and get home and sleep in their own bed. So really the goal of that is radiation treatments, seeing patients in the clinic, infusion treatments for chemotherapy, injections for chemotherapy, and then of course imaging and clinic visits. So all of that will be done in the building here. We'll walk you through and see some more equipment.
The equipment gets better and better as you walk.
I think we're gonna make a stop in the lab too. They're
Perfect.
training today.
I don't have badge access like y'all.
Ask me, shop.
Thank you. I'll help the door if you don't mind.
There is also a
Yep.
temporary
Come on in.
down there.
You want to take a left and make your way down and then to the right? Either way, fine.
How are you?
is anything sensitive? Is this like simulation stuff? Like if I were to take a picture of you working with that something other day?
Oh, you could if you want. I was just actually gonna get out so you guys could do your
Oh,
thing.
okay. I just wanted, because I had a picture of you working with me. Oh, crap.
My Johnson is athlete one down at Parkview in Lania.
All right.
Stop in and see CyberKnife if you want.
Flying through. So we only have about 170,000 square feet left for you to see. Not much else left. I'm going to go down here and see the MRI. So you can look through the window there. That's the MRI machine. The MRI. This is the MRI that I was telling you about.
All right.
Test the MRI. Back in. Do you have any metal fillings or gold chains on? That's not on.
Okay, that's the one.
So that's the 3 Tesla MRI that we're.
Go by the business, sir.
26,000. Wow. For what reason?
To keep the radiation in.
Okay. I figured it was something.
Yeah, you're in a concrete wall right now.
What is this time again?
That's interesting.
This
The-
is CyberKnife. Harder radiation.
We have an individual out there that's doing some testing and some commissioning work on it yet, so. Will you come on in? This is CyberKnife that Dr. Sharma mentioned. Not a knife, but a way to get very precise radiation treatments. It's not for every type of tumor, but specific ones that works extremely well for. Especially those small ones that are in hard to reach places. I don't know if Dr. Sharma, if there's anything else you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So a CyberKnife machine, I can talk about it quite a bit. So we're doing a couple of research protocols related to the CyberKnife machine. So for pancreas cancer, which is one of my focuses on specialty, we closed a trial recently where it implants seeds around these tumors. So a lot of pancreatic cancers are not necessarily upfront resectable due to the vasculature that they're involved with, right? So we can't cut them out right away. So this is really a key tool for us. We get a lot of pancreatic cancer from not just inside of Fort Wayne, but also from Ohio and Michigan, specifically because of a couple of things. One, our surgical skill set to be able to employ and deploy these fiducial markers. And then number two, the fact that we have one of the few CyberKnife units in the area. So this is really crucial for us. We've also expanded neurosurgical services over the past 2 years. We've added on new neurosurgeons to our group. So we've actually taken in 2 from the community, and then we've recruited 2 neurosurgeons. So they also use this in the brain. So you have it use predominantly brain, pancreas, lung. So we actually do a very high volume of lung cancer here. It's one of our highest volumes of any of the cancers that we treat. As some of you may know, lung cancer can have a higher mortality, and obviously that's a more invasive surgery. So CyberKnife gives us just another modality to help treat these patients. So we employ it quite a bit. Any questions about the machinery?
How fit is the concrete?
It was
that we're
30
talking about?
tons of lead or of concrete were poured to the total area.
Yeah, so each wall, so 6 foot thick, 8 foot, 8 foot. I think this was 14 maybe, and then above us is another probably 10 feet up there of solid concrete
About how long?
for CyberKnife and the radiation.
How long is the procedure? How long are you usually in here? Is it a few minutes? Are you here for a couple hours?
Yeah, so it depends on what organ we're treating. It can be anywhere from 15 minutes to as much as 45 minutes to an hour at the most, I think. So it really depends what we're treating. The treatments are nice because they're actually less amount of total treatments that you need than traditional radiation, which is traditionally external whole beam radiation. Here, for pancreas patients, most of my pancreas patients take 3 to 5 outpatient treatments, and they're done with treatment. The other place that we use it a lot is in liver cancers. So we actually have a liver cancer program here now that's been launched over the past year that's really grown quite a bit. So we'll use it in liver cancer as well. I think another big thing to point out is besides the tech that you see here, is the amount of planning that goes into someone's radiation treatments. There's quite a bit of planning. So we actually have radiation physicists that work alongside radiation technologists, which work alongside the radiation oncologists. We have initial CT scans that we have a good idea of what's going on. Then we implant fiducial markers, and there'll be a variety of different surgical specialties that do that. When we implant these little markers, they're little gold seeds that are inert. They're smaller than the tip of your finger. We plant them in a box around the tumor, and then we go back and we upload those images back to a computer, and then we scan and we contour around them, almost like a paint shop type drawing. And after we paint shop around them, then they go back to the radiation physicist and they plan out all the treatments. They'll also do what's called like a test treatment before, sometimes into a water chamber or other areas, and just make sure that the right amount of dosage is being delivered to that area. Because obviously we're delivering to areas where we don't want to have a lot of collateral damage to other organs. We want to make sure patients get the very best treatment, the very optimum strategy for their treatment, and have the least number of doses possible. So all of that goes into what's happening over here. For the patient themselves, there's music. They've done a better job of having a better atmosphere because nobody else can really be in this room, obviously because of the radiation that's being delivered. So to make sure that they feel the most at home in terms of their experience as possible, the least afraid. Obviously the first treatment can be a bit scary for patients. We want to make sure they know what they're expecting and optimize that.
The therapists sit right here on the other side of the wall. They can see and talk to the patient continually, and the patient can speak to them and let them know if they have any needs. So there's constant communication.
And very subtly, there's multiple cameras. So a camera here, there, one behind me over there. So all of which are monitoring the patient the whole time for safety. All right, take you down the hall though.
Just a minute away.
We're very close, but still more what's going on.
It's been taken. I think she's supported too.
But it's not tracking off of that location.
One of the things that several of us did prior to opening was go visit a lot of different cancer centers. And we took different ideas, so the best from each one of those places and incorporated into this. So Dr. Sharma, Scott, myself, Mike Packnett, several individuals were on those tours. And this is one of the things that we did incorporate here that we saw in one of the cancer centers that we visited. So patients that are on radiation treatment, many of them come 5 days a week for 6 to 8 weeks. If you're on CyberKnife, it's a shorter treatment plan, but you still come in more frequently and you know your way around. Once they get accustomed to everything, they can park right outside here, come in this door, go back and get changed and be ready for their treatment, and the therapist will pick them up from one of their seats over there on the other side. So it's a comfortable waiting space. They don't have to walk through the whole building to get back here, and it's easy in and easy out for them. So we thought that was a nice opportunity that we wanted to try, and we look forward to seeing how everyone responds to it.
Our goal as you guys walk through, our hope was about experience. So the touches that you'll see, the extra waiting rooms, whatever it may be, it's about the patient experience and their families. If we can provide that experience, the outcomes follow with that as well.
So people come 5 to 6 days a week for how many? They come some 5 days a week for 6 to 8 weeks. For radiation treatment. For radiation. Oh. This is the lounge for radiation oncology. So then you're right back out here to the lobby.
If anyone has trouble taking the stairs, you can take the elevator. We're just going right up here to the second floor. Flowers. Yeah, they were orange last week.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Megan, you want to talk about the garden?
Sure.
Gonna put poor Megan on the spot.
So when this building was designed, the garden is for our patients and their families to take a break from treatment and come. The cafe is right off the garden. They can grab a bite to eat. It's light, bright, all living trees, living plants, really promote health and healing. A lot of our treatments are very long, so patients could be in the building for 8-9 hours. So to be able to come down and have a break is huge for them.
All real.
All real.
Trees, flowers, everything's real.
And for our staff, so our coworkers can come down, eat lunch, they're taking care of sick patients and they can have grueling long days, so if they can get away for 10-15 minutes, it's a great addition to their day.
Kicks back into that patient experience. So if we take care of our staff and the staff that needs some time for respite, or just you notice that, you address that, give them an opportunity to relax and get back to patient care. It helps with that patient experience.
And there's the nice, so you see over here, there's still glass that needs to go in, but it's a great reflective spot if someone just needs a few minutes of quiet reflection, whether that's a coworker or a patient or their family, they have kind of that more private area over there.
So what I like about the space is you can see it from multiple levels. So you see it when you first walk in, you can see it through the glass up there. You can see it obviously from this floor, where you can be on this floor or come out from the cafeteria. You can see it from up in infusion, which we're going to take you up to next, so actually looking down from infusion. You can see it on the 4th floor as well, so you can see it up top from the clinical spaces, administrative space as well. So it actually kind of flows throughout the entire building. I would just say, as a not necessarily a plug, but I would just say what's interesting about this medical building, which is very different than other medical buildings, is this space could have been utilized for a million different purposes. It could be utilized for more clinic spaces to try to put more patients into a tight, confined area. What I think really shows about our mission is that we're committed to make sure that we're elevating care in every possible way. So we've actually dedicated a lot of volume of space within the building to make sure that we're getting the highest quality of care, the highest quality of experience, rather than just trying to push more and more space and utilize it to its optimal capacity per se. Very different than the typical business model within a medical building. I think it's paid dividends when we look at the space and how it feels for everybody who walks through here, whether you work here or you're getting your treatments here. We'll take you to the cafeteria. Go ahead.
So some unique features in here too. Lots of healthy foods, smoothies. Nothing will really be cooked in this building, so the smells won't go throughout the building. A lot of our cancer patients don't want to smell those things or may not feel well that day. And then also something unique that we'll have is chair delivery and infusion. So room service type 2 infusion, which is not typical for cancer centers. They just have some crackers, some small sodas. Patients can order whatever they want. So if they feel like a milkshake or a smoothie during treatment, they'll make it down here and deliver it right to their chair.
So both with food to the infusion, we also have meds to beds, their medication. They don't have to go to the pharmacy afterwards as well. All medications will be delivered to them at the bay as well when they're finished with their treatment. The cafeteria, once again, it's about experience for our patients and their families. We have a great menu. Many of the items is at PRMC, but are also unique to this area. Very healthy options, salads, subs, even hot entrees, and then adding to the shakes and smoothies. We have easy to go, so they can simply grab coffee as well. They can eat in the garden or sit here in the cafe.
So when you say no food is cooked here, the hot food is brought in from PRMC?
PRMC,
Okay.
yes. Yep, food is prepped.
We'll
We
do
are.
little pizza ovens and things like that over here, but nothing that's going to permeate smells throughout the entire
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
It's very important, and I will tell you from a design perspective, we spent a lot of time making sure from a window and closed off smells and how's that air going to travel to make sure everything's sealed tight pretty well. It does not travel up, so we think we have that component covered. The food that comes over PRMC, like I said, it's prepped, hot, comes over this direction. We are looking at and entertaining some unique food items that will be unique to Fort Wayne and the Parkview campus. We'd like to provide something that's different, but is attractive as well. And so Dr. Sharma's working on that, so that'll be coming around the corner too.
I can't tell you anything more.
That's the next media drive. Yep, it's coming out. All right, we're going to walk this way.
Thank you. Thanks, Todd.
For you. So clinical spaces. So for those who haven't heard about our design, I think our clinical design is as intricate and as thoughtful as the design of the building. The design of the building, its form really mirrors its function and how we want to deliver healthcare. So I think the healthcare delivery platform for what we're going to do for cancer has never been done before. There have been some attempts at multidisciplinary care at larger academic style cancer institutes. I think we take it to the next level. It's been a big passion of ours, all of us I would say, in terms of how we want to deliver care to patients. We recognize that cancer care is extremely complex. In order to elevate this care, we have to not just mirror what's been done in academic centers, but to really elevate beyond that. And what I mean by that is multidisciplinary collaborative care with the patient and their family in the center. In order to design that, you have to design a brand new clinical platform. So it's been quite complex, and for the past year and a half, while you see the building going up, we've been trying to reorient all the physicians, the nurse practitioners, geneticists, counselors, dietitians, all these different people who are around a cancer patient to figure out a way that we can deliver cancer care differently. And so all of the pods are designed around the disease. None of the pods are designed around a physician or a specialty. And so you're in a pod right now, which is the GU cancer pod. So GU cancers include kidney cancer, ureter cancer, bladder cancer, prostate cancer. So a bunch of these different cancers are being taken care of by a wide variety of different physicians. So every patient who comes through our Cancer Institute, we want them to get access to multidisciplinary care. So that means that we're reviewing every case at a conference called the Tumor Board that meets once a week, and all the new cancer cases for that week are reviewed by all the different people who will be touching that. So that means all the different specialists. So we're going to use an example of prostate cancer, common cancer. So prostate cancer might be taken care of by a urologist. It might get radiation, so radiation oncologist. There might be a medical oncologist if it's spread throughout the body. There could be geneticists that are involved. There could be nutritionists, counselors, social workers, nurse navigators. There's a huge group of people who touch this cancer. We want them all working together. So they're going to review all those cases for the week. They're going to talk about them. They're going to agree on the diagnosis and stage. They'll sit down with urologists, pathologists, other people who are involved with that process. Then they'll come up with a letter. Every patient's going to get one of these letters. That letter is delivered to them and their family when they come back to the clinic by one of the doctors as well as the navigator. Also, it's going to go back to the referring doctors electronically. And on that letter is going to have their diagnosis and stage and their multi-specialty collaborative treatment plan. They're going to come just to this clinic. So they're not going to bounce around to 4 or 5 different clinics to see all those specialists, which is what's always happened in the past. And trust me, I've come from all academic cancer institutes before this. So University of North Carolina, Duke, Virginia, University of South Florida, Moffitt Cancer Center, every single one of them have had this process, but it's still been fragmented throughout different clinics. This is all being put into one clinic space. I think that's extremely unique. It's important for the patient. So when a patient comes in, we take it to even the next level. So a patient's going to come in through one of those doors and we'll walk to one of the pods. They come into the clinic, then everything else is oriented around them. So if they need to see more than one specialist in a day and we can make that work, great, we'll do that. And they'll all be here in this pod. If they need to go downstairs and get their radiation treatment, they'll go downstairs and get the radiation treatment. But they're seeing this all as seamless. This is their medical home, and everybody else will rotate around that medical home. The fact that doctors are taking 1 hour or more, sometimes an hour and a half, during their week to sit down and talk about every case is a big deal. I mean, it's a lot of time from very elite specialists. But we found that it's actually reverberated and it's helped us quite a bit in the sense of recruitment. So we recruited a lot of talent over the past year before even opening the doors to this building, which has included over 10 medical oncologists, various surgical specialists, and they're all coming here. And I can tell you they're coming here because they can practice medicine at its most subspecialized and elite level. So we're able to now attract talent. So the last couple of people we've hired from Ohio State University, Rush University, Vanderbilt University, and they can practice just like they would in the university setting, being specialized, not doing just general community practice. So that's what I mean. It's all kind of on a platform where the end product begets itself because of how we've designed it. So you're seeing the physical structure of that, but really how we're delivering healthcare is completely new. Questions about that? I've hit you with a lot of information.
Well, when you talk about a letter being sent out for every patient, is that only after the initial discussion about that patient to set up a treatment plan, or is that literally every week after every discussion?
Yeah, so let's just use an example, right? So let's say a patient has a suspected prostate cancer based on blood work, imaging, an exam from their primary care doctor. They get sent over to an office. So when we talk about when we're going to get a letter, we want to make sure that they get worked up, they get whatever procedures they need, labs, imaging, so on. They get their biopsy, and then they come back and they get reviewed at this conference. And so every week we're trying to get people into this conference. We wanted also to decrease the amount of time because now everyone's working collaboratively to when they get to that conference. So our ideal state is someone gets referred to our cancer institute in 3 weeks of time. We've worked everything up, diagnosing, making all their staging done, their blood work, and then they get this letter. The letter is after we review the case. Really, ideally, you want all of your cancer cases worked in a multidisciplinary format where all your specialists have talked to each other and agreed upon this is the right diagnosis and stage and this is the best way to treat this cancer. Personalized medicine has become a big deal, especially in cancer care. So the way that you would treat a 50-year-old, and I'll use my own disease site example, with pancreas cancer, and maybe an 85-year-old with pancreas cancer, and what type of medical morbidities they have, and what stage they have, that's complex. It's not going to be the same treatment for everyone. So that's our opportunity to do this in a way that's still sustainable.
So I'm sorry. I really was listening, but I don't think I understand the answer to the question. You discuss individual patients one time, every single week, every single patient, or only as needed for each patient?
So every case gets discussed at least once to get a consensus on diagnosis and stage and treatment plan. After the treatment, many cases, and the vast majority of cancers get rediscussed to make sure, hey, they're done with their treatment, we're going to move forward to survivorship. Every week, maybe probably not. It wouldn't make sense for the patient if they're in the middle of treatment.
Yeah, I just was unclear about that. So, how many individual patients would you expect to discuss in a single week?
All the new cases.
Which
could be, on average for us right now, we're going over 2,500 new cancers a year.
Okay, so I have to do the math. Is that how many a week? 50 a week? Or?
Right, it would be more than 50 a week. So we have 8 different tumor boards by subspecialty, and all those tumor boards can have as little as 2 or 3 cases to as many as 20 cases.
Okay.
It's a lot of cases. It's a lot of patients. Let's go into a room, and we can role play a little bit of what it looks like to be a patient.
Camera people.
camera people, writers, everybody.
Can we pop into any one of these rooms?
Yeah, you're
pretty,
that's
pretty
okay.
similar.
Yes, they're all the same.
Okay, cool.
The last one on the
Just
end
so
there is a little bit
we
bigger.
prevent
if
crowding.
that helps. It's the same concept. Just a little more space.
So this is basically like my doctor.
Only on this side, right?
Right.
So they're coming in here.
Is it a queue?
Someone maybe is guiding them in. Concierge services are coming in. They come in from this side only. As they come in, they need to get weighed, they need to get labs, they need anything done that's already been done. They hop into the room. Now it's an exam room. So the physician and or nurse practitioner or healthcare provider is coming in from this side. They're here. The point of the angle of the room is that if you're looking at your laptop or you're looking
Yeah, I think something that makes ours. So these boards will literally tell you where any patient is in the building at any point in time, which is nice. And so patients won't be on this side, so they can see, this is only staff, so I'm sure violate HIPAA or anything like any of those. And then the lights above the room, so as far as I know, we're the first outpatient facility. And what they are is our staff will all wear a badge, and so, let's say I'm a nurse, I go in the room, it'll light up pink. If the physician goes in the room, it'll light up blue. If it's not lit up, it'll light up white when the patient's in the room. If we see, hey, that's been white an awful long time and no one's touched that patient, we're triggering our staff to say, go check on them, give them nothing, try to sit around and wait. So, and I'm waiting on a physician, and so.
in reality.
We don't do a lot of that.
Comfy rocker.
To plug your cell phone or whatever you have with you.
Well, and then there's a little higher chairs for our patients that maybe can't sit down as low. So just a variety of comfortable furniture. Our goal is for them not to be out here very long, but in the time they spend out here, we want them to be very comfortable.
Very nice.
We're gonna head this
Nice
way here,
view.
grab a couple elevators so we can get up to the infusion bay.
That's to the right over here. So actually, I'll talk about this little space before they come out, and you guys can come outside if you'd like.
Oh, this.
So Fridays are kind of similar to the garden. I mean, it might be considered dead space, but I think the value of this space is that you can get outside. Obviously, we can't do it year round, but there are times where you just need a break. So it's either the patients need a break, the family's waiting a long time, they need a break, healthcare providers need a break, and obviously what we do is very taxing.
Right around here.
There's some other bays through here that are our infusion center has 48 chairs. We have 8 private rooms. We have a small section of 4 chairs where they can talk to each other. That was based upon information our focus group members said. They wanted to be able to visit. Some people did. We have 2 family patios, and I'll step out of the way. You can see one of our, you might call it a semi-private bay, where they have one person and their family member, and we have a very nice view there for them. And they're close to their nurses, so.
So where patients get chemotherapy, right? So when they're getting their chemotherapy, that's what the infusion section is about. I see some. So if you haven't seen what infusion rooms look like, they're usually not to this scale, and obviously this is very upgraded. So just the fact that patients can sit in their chair and have a variety of different settings, from being alone to being in a communal setting. Sometimes they're there for very long periods of time. We want to make it as comfortable for them as possible. As Scott alluded to, the food option is, I think, really unique. I can only know of one other academic center I've ever worked at that had anything close to that in terms of food options. And so, again, I think that's very unique for the patients.
As Dr. Sharma discussed, it's paying attention to the finer points of the details that go into this facility, and I'll kind of tee them up. We have one example over here in our celebration room. If you don't mind telling the folks here a little bit about the celebration room and the meaning behind that and why we wanted to add that to the Cancer Institute.
We have 2 private rooms that we've termed celebration rooms, and the way the infusion area is developed, we have 24 chairs on one side, 24 chairs on the other side. So each side has a celebration room. And our idea there is, right now we celebrate with patients when they finish chemotherapy. We get them a cake, and many times we've had some staff that have some little songs that they might sing that they've made up. We also thought that sometimes patients, while they like celebrating, they also feel a little bad that they're celebrating and the person in the chair next to them are nearby. We still have semi-private bays, but they're much smaller. So those patients aren't. They're just now getting started or something. So by creating a room, and this is one of them, and then we have one on the other side, where they will be able to be in there. They've got great views. They can close the door. They can celebrate. They can have balloons, and we'll still provide a cake and things like that and celebrate with them. But they can bring a few more people in and not feel like they're disturbing other patients, and they can celebrate their own victory. They're finishing their chemotherapy and getting ready to move on. So.
And something like this is just as much about the patient as is the team that's providing that care as well. We build bonds with our patients. We're partners with them along their journey, and take pride in celebrating them and their successes and their achievements along the way as well. And so it's just as much for the staff and the care providers as it is for the patients, so we can celebrate together as one.
I would say if there was one location with the development of this building was infusion, and that was very important to Mr. Packnett, was infusion. Main focus, making sure that we have space, making sure that it's comfortable, making sure from a staffing perspective they can see their patients, but most importantly the family as well is taken care of.
Now, I'm sorry, we
coming all the way around. We're going to go back to the central area. Back in the center over here. So there are exam rooms. There are rooms to actually do things like bone marrow biopsy, which is some of our patients with lymphoma or leukemia need to have done. So that's what some of these closed off rooms are. Obviously a lot of supplies. There's a built-in pharmacy to the location. Obviously we need to have on-site pharmacy and the ability to do what is called investigational drug research. So we obviously are delivering new therapies through research here. So that's a big part of what we do.
So you guys are doing some research in with this building, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome.
Back to here. So this will be an area that you can see a few things. We'll just kind of stop in here and take a look. What you guys see, you can see the garden from here too, which is a really nice view of the garden.
Space here is where families can come out and gather, or patients can join them. Just walk around, play a game, and And then there's one similar to it on the other side, so both sides have that opportunity. Oh my goodness, how nice. You can step by the window and scoop behind you.
So nice view of the garden. You can see it again, so you can see it from multiple floors. So I'll talk a little bit about the complexity for cancer care relative to infusion. You know, it's always changing, right? So the goal is to evolve and to get to a cure. To do that, the complexity comes into how much infusion are we giving and how much of the medication can we give orally. Because obviously with other diseases, oftentimes you can get patients can get medications orally. And so the amount of investment into this area had to be given with a lot of thought, with the fact that 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, majority of our medications could be given orally, which would be ideal for the patient. So that's something that we've taken in mind as well. And then I always talk about the goal of this building is not just to deliver cancer care, but to elevate it. And so when we talk about elevating cancer care, you can't talk about cancer care without research. So a big part of what we can do here is investigational drug research, the fact that we have an on-site pharmacy, the fact that we've hired clinical pharmacists we've brought from out of state to come be part of our program. We're also working with Manchester University. Met with them once. They're going to meet again with us to start talking about the ability to train clinical pharmacists, and then hopefully in the future have other pharmacists who are not just behind in delivering medications, but becoming clinicians as well, or working hand in hand. As you can imagine, a lot of the drugs are very sophisticated. You can have drug-drug interactions. You want to make sure those safeties are there. Patients understand what kind of medications that they're getting. So there's a whole array of complexity that all of a sudden comes about when you're trying to deliver what's really tertiary cancer care, right? Because we want to be a draw for the whole region, a destination site. And so to elevate that game, this allows us to do that. But it also gives us a platform for education with a number of new people who will get involved in the process to partner with other universities. We'll walk back. There's see the pharmacy a little bit? Or do you want to go back up a floor or run out of time?
Yep, so we're going to head down to the garden and do interviews and wrap it up.
Perfect. So obviously you've got this beautiful space here. What makes this facility, this cancer treatment facility, different than other facilities?
Parkview Cancer Institute is extremely unique. It's a multidisciplinary space designed around the patients and their families to make sure that their cancer journey is both elevated in terms of the quality of their care, but also has the best possible patient experience.
So one of the things you've obviously focused around is that patient experience. How did you guys come to decide that we're not worried about getting numbers through the door, we're worried about the quality of care?
Throughout Parkview Health, we've had a focus on partnering with our community and making sure that patients have the access to the best quality of care, while making sure that Parkview wraps their arms around every patient and their family. There's no more important place for this than in cancer care. Cancer is an extremely traumatic experience for all of our patients and their families, and affects them forever like no other disease. We want to make sure we did our very best to take care of these patients.
What is something unique about this facility that you're most excited about?
I think the entire facility is extremely innovative. It has state-of-the-art technology, from radiation oncology equipment to the way that it approaches infusion for patients who need chemotherapies. I also think the design of the building, in terms of all of its clinics, are designed around diseases rather than subspecialties, which allows us to have a multidisciplinary clinical care model.
When you're putting the patient first, what was the deciding factor on that design?
We took a lot of time to get patient feedback from patient interest groups, patients who've had cancer before and their family members. During that process, we received a lot of interesting information on their perspective of how the disease affects them and their lives. Some of the complexities in receiving care from their end. It was very important for us to make sure we took that feedback and put an envelope around it in terms of how we deliver care to our consumers.
So then, aesthetically speaking, did you think the building would look like this by the time it was done?
I would say this building has exceeded our expectations. We spent a lot of time, not just myself, but a variety of different leaders throughout our healthcare system, including Mike Packnett, our CEO, to travel around the country to visit a variety of different universities, academic settings, large private institutions, NCI designated centers, and basically put all of this together in some form of combination that makes the most sense for Northeast Indiana.
And welcome to the Parkview Cancer Institute dedication service. As with everything, I think it would be nice if we did things in good order this morning, and we would ask the Lord's blessing on today's event. Won't you pray with me? Heavenly and gracious Father, we love you and we thank you so much for this beautiful facility. Lord, we thank you for every ounce of energy that's gone into its creation. And Lord, we thank you for the spirit from which it's come, Lord. The spirit of compassion and care that was built into everything that was accomplished here, Lord. We thank you for this facility and space. And Lord, we thank you again that you are beginning to fill this space with compassionate caregivers. Lord, for all those who are going to be giving care in this space, Lord, we pray that your spirit would be all over them. Lord, that they would learn to give of themselves in a deeper way. Lord, that they would see past just disease and see deep into the heart of each one of the patients that they serve. And Lord, that your will would be accomplished in lives because of what they do. And Lord, we thank you even more for those patients who will be coming through those doors. Lord, we thank you that they're going to experience a healing touch from both the medical staff and all the trained caregivers here and those who are operating in services that will touch each one of their lives, Lord. But we thank you because you're going to partner with us and send your spirit to be a part of everything that we do here. And Lord, just like with every good gift you give, it's our duty to use it for the glory of your kingdom. So Lord, we lay it at your feet. We thank you for this space. But we give it back to you and we say, help us. Help us to use it for the glory of your kingdom. Lord, today we will dedicate this space to you. We will dedicate this space to those who are working here. We will dedicate this space to the patients that will come through those doors. And in all of it we say, may you reign in everything in this place. Lord, we thank you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I'd like to ask Mike Packnett, our leader, to share a few words.
Thank you. And it's great to have our own chaplain here at Parkview Cancer Institute. So many things running through my mind this morning as I look at all of you and look at the staircase. As we went around the country and got ideas from different places, this staircase was an interesting one that we saw in Edmond, Oklahoma. And the story and why we wanted to incorporate it here is that we heard from some of the patients that they wanted to be able to walk up those stairs, and that for them is to walk up to infusion. And for them, it represented a real challenge, you know, that they were tired, they didn't feel like it, but to be able to ascend those stairs, and in their case, ring the bell for their last infusion was a big part of their cancer journey. And as I see you all on the staircase, it just reminds me how many of our patients will be able to ascend that staircase and celebrate at least one part of their journey with us. As I think about the journey, I remember back 3 or 4 years ago reading Tom Brokaw's book on his journey with multiple myeloma, and how he pointed out in the beginning of the book and really throughout the book how difficult it was for him to navigate his own journey. And can you imagine someone like Tom Brokaw having difficulty navigating his own journey? Here's a man with almost unlimited resources, certainly a lot of resources. His daughter is a physician, but it was really hard for him to patch together his own care. And I thought back to our journey, Donna's journey, and thinking, you know, when you hear that diagnosis, your world changes. Sometimes forever your world changes, but in the immediacy of that diagnosis, it really changes. It really changes your life. As we thought about the vision for this place, we said we want this to be the best cancer institute in the country. And we kind of At times we embraced it, other times we thought, well, is that something we can really do? And, you know, I thought as we were going along, getting those words right, I thought, well, what do we want to shoot for? Being the 10th best cancer institute in America, or the 50th best cancer institute in the country. But the word best seems to describe what you all are all about, what we're all about. And it really means the best care for every person every day. We say excellent care for every person every day. And as I look around and see all of you here and the leadership you'll provide to every person, we know that every journey is different, isn't it? And I think that's what will make us the best regional cancer center in the country. And that is that we're going to treat every individual and every family member as it's their own case. Everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different journey. Tom Brokaw also says in his book that when one person in the family is diagnosed with cancer, the entire family gets a diagnosis of cancer. And that certainly has been true with our family, and I know with many of you who've been touched by cancer in your lives. And we want this investment in our community to really be able to do that, to be able to wrap our arms around our patients, but also wrap their arms around our families. And I'm just looking at the garden space now, and that was a big thing, the big thought around having the garden. It wasn't just for the patients, but also for family members and for our coworkers here to have a place to go. A couple of weeks ago, about 8 o'clock at night, I was able to go up and just sit in the garden. And I sat with a couple of people and just, you know, it's a great spirit in that place. And I think that's what's going to really permeate throughout this whole facility. Whole facility is the spirit of healing, the spirit of hope, the spirit of always getting better with your life, but also getting better with how we treat our patients. And that's what I would ask of you today, is we have a great start. Dr. Sharma and his team have redefined cancer care for this community. And it's the beginning of our journey. It's not the end. This is a celebration of the beginning of our journey. And I think we can all get better every day, just a little bit better every day. We'll see incremental improvements. I don't think we'll see these huge improvements every day, but collectively, the collective impact that you all will have on our patients by having just a little bit of improvement every day will be felt by patients throughout our community. The other night, as I was watching people tie ribbons on the rope or the string, I was struck by how many of them just paused. They would select a color, and they would tie that ribbon on the rope. And I just imagined what their journey must have been like. I know they were probably remembering a loved one or their own journey. And I think we're going to have 2,500 to 3,000 ribbons, newly diagnosed cancer cases every year. Maybe it's more than 3,000, huh, Neil? Every year, because we want everyone to come to this place of healing and really experience what the Parkview Cancer Institute can do and be for them and their families. And let me ask Neil to come up now. Dr. Sharma has put his stamp on this building in so many different ways. We had one idea in mind, but when Dr. Sharma took on the role as president, he had a lot better ideas. So Neil, would you come up and share a little bit, please?
So thank you to all of you for coming down here today and spending time wrapping yourselves around the staircase, as Mr. Packnett described really elegantly. I think all of you are as excited as I am. You probably feel the excitement in the air. It feels palpable. It didn't feel like this day was going to come for quite some time, and now like the dream is right here. It feels great. I think all of you have big smiles on your face just like I do, and it's hard for me to suppress all of that. I'd be remiss to not thank all of the people who made this possible, and that starts obviously with our amazing healthcare system. I always talk about the fact that we decided to push further with the Cancer Insttiude, and it's built on a platform of a really strong healthcare system. So it wasn't enough to just accept to open up another building and to treat patients for cancer care. We wanted to dare to dream and to push this much further than what's been done before. And all the hard work that's come from the physicians who've served here before us, the administration, what Mr. Packnett, Rick Henvey, Dr. Dussman have put together have allowed us to stand here today and to raise the bar once again. And I promise you that we'll do just that. And so it's a lot of thanks to all of you who have decided to be a part of this journey and to move forward and to dare to dream. You know, when we look at the building, we know that it's the most technologically advanced building probably in Northeast Indiana. Its design has been immaculately put together after a lot of hard work. The building is going to help us better care for patients, and everything that we do here in the Cancer Insttiude will be absolutely innovative. Every detail we've looked at has been focused around design, and that design still centers around the patient. And if there's anyone to thank here, it's really them. So all of us have been touched by cancer. All of us have family members who've been damaged by this process and gone through this journey, and then hopefully come out victorious. And it's really thinking about them, how we've designed not just the building, but everything that we're doing here. And I know that that will reflect and it'll change the way that we deliver healthcare, not just here locally in Allen County, but I think everywhere else. And it's that commitment to that process and that design that's allowed us to recruit a number of amazing physicians. I think we'll see the growth continue to move forward. So I want to thank all those families who have decided to support people who have been afflicted by cancer and the disease, all the patients, and for their courage to be willing to move forward with treatments and trials and processes. This building is really about that. It's not about opening a new building. It's truly not about opening a new service line or market share. It's always been about service. It's always been about understanding what our families and our patients go through. It's about their courage and their dreams. That's what's let us do what we do here today. And when you get a chance to get through this building, and if any of your family members get affected like my own have, I can promise you that this will truly change the way that we care for them forever. So we talk about this ribbon here. We put out something that's, again, innovative and creative, and I give a lot of credit to the team that designed the concept. We asked for Parkview staff and their guests to take ribbons from a variety of different cancers that may have affected them or their family members, to tie them together across this string. So that's what you're seeing here, is this beautiful composition of a ribbon that represents the hopes and dreams, the suffering, and the journey of many people who have been affected by cancer. I'd like to welcome all of you to come down here and join me as we cut this string, and we no longer think about this dream that we put together a couple of years ago. We start to move forward to make the dream a reality. So please come join me for the ribbon cut. Everybody, it's a team effort.
You'll be able to see us. That'll be perfect. You're right in the right spot.
A lot of people. All right, so as we cut this string, we're going to open the Parkview Cancer Insttiude, start the cancer care revolution. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Here at Parkview Wabash Hospital for a special sneak preview at the new 80,000 square foot Parkview Wabash Hospital. We're going to gather photos, videos, interviews with hospital leaders. Interview will be available with Marilyn Custer Mitchell, who's the president of the Parkview Wabash Hospital, as well as the Lynn Lou DO Parkview Physicians Group and the OBGYN, who is the newest addition to our hospital care team. Yay! Parkview Wabash Hospital, dedicated this year, 2018.
guard, line up. Color guard, retreat.
Where's that trust, Shelley? Right there. No, I ain't saying right there's the trust for the Chillet Hospital. Oh, okay. 710 North East Street. I don't think they like me. Nice house. Very nice house. Thank you.
We're going to start off talking about the community impact and then kind of what it means for our coworkers. So what does this new hospital mean for the Wabash community?
You know, it's huge to the Wabash community. First, we're adding services, especially with labor and delivery coming on. So that's a big deal to this community. We've not done labor and delivery here since 2004. So that's probably the thing our community's most excited about. The other thing is just that we've upgraded. We have a lot of new technology, not necessarily new services, but newer technology than we already have, or brand new technology we don't currently have. And the building was built very specifically with our community and the patients in mind, so that it's more accessible to those areas where more patients use. The things that our patients use the most often, lab, radiology, and outpatient surgery, are near the front of the building. So we really try to keep the patient and their needs in mind when we built it.
Oh, perfect. So as far as coworkers, you and I talked a little bit about the excitement surrounding this move. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
It's been so cool to see and so gratifying to see our coworkers get excited. As they've been coming in for training, they're coming back excited, little anxious, but more excitement than anxiety, which is wonderful. And then getting ready for our tours and all, it's been wonderful to see everyone pull together, and people are doing whatever it takes to make the building shine and sparkle for our tours. So we're excited about that.
Wonderful. Will you talk a little bit about, I overheard a little bit about the move and what takes place on that day about transporting patients?
So at 6 a.m. we close our current facility on June 27th, and at 6 a.m. that same day we open here. So the ED will stay open and take patients up through 5:59. Starting at 6, we'll start taking patients here. Our night shift will just stay over for all the patient care areas and work until the last patient's gone, whether that's in the ED or inpatient. And the day shift will just start here. So our staff have been planning very diligently with the ambulance service in town, Wabash Fire Department ambulance, as well as Parkview ambulance services. And we will at 6 a.m. start transporting inpatients over here. And we will do that over and over as many times as we need to get all the inpatients over here. And again, lab, radiology, ED, inpatient services, pharmacy will all stay there and also have staff here until the last patient's gone there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
A lot of teamwork, a lot of planning, but our staff have done, our leadership team has done a phenomenal job in planning that. They really have. It's not something that keeps me up at night because they've got it down.
Good. Good. That's reassuring. That's very reassuring.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have what we need. Yeah.
Good.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jerry Sweet Magic here, and I'm in Wabash this time. Okay, here in Wabash, we're actually we're doing the new hospital. The new Wabash Hospital is just opening up, so you're going to see a lot of things about the new hospital. I have 2 people here that said they like magic, and they got new motorcycles. What kind of bike did you say you just got?
XT250.
Wow, and you got a bike too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's 125.
125. Nice little bike for getting around and everything. What's your name?
Jimmy.
Jimmy and Sammy. Okay. I'll have you inspect this, Sammy. Make sure that's an empty box. Check it out real good. Okay, Jimmy, you check this out good too. Make sure that's an empty box.
Empty.
That looks empty to you, huh? How about here on the screen here? Look. Okay, it looks empty. Okay. Now, Jimmy, why don't you shuffle those up? Sammy, I'm going to have you guard this box for me, okay? I'm going to put this lid on here. You put your hand on top of that box. don't let me in that box, okay?
Okay.
There's a term in magic called misdirection. What that means is I'm going to try to distract you and get in that box, and your job's not to let me do that, okay? Okay, Jimmy, you got them shuffled up good? Yeah. Okay, pick any card you want. Look at it. You want a different one, or you want to keep that one?
I want to keep this one.
Okay, you like that one, okay. Jimmy, this is a Sharpie pen. Careful, don't poke yourself, Sharpie. Just a joke. Okay, on that, not the red side, but on the valued side, write anything you want, Jimmy. You can put your initials, you can put your name, you can put a shape, anything you want. Now, there's no way I'm going to know what you're putting on there, so I would have to actually show you your card to be able. You done?
Yeah, I do that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you these cards. Put yours on top for now. Okay. Jimmy, do you watch any of the detective shows?
No.
Okay. You remember Columbo from years ago? There used to be a guy called Columbo. He was a detective. Probably not. It's been a while. He was the detective on TV, and he had a term called forensic evidence. What that means is something that can be proven with investigation. Like this card here on top. You touched that card. You've written on that card. You probably put your fingerprints on it, right? Okay. So I'm going to show you how fast. You tell me when to stop. Anytime you want. Stop there. Yeah, I'm going to put these behind my back. You see how fast I can find your card. Okay? I think I've done it already. See if your card's right on top. It is. Isn't that something? Okay. That is. It's Jimmy's card right on top. Okay, let's do this again. Say when you stop. Stop there? Okay. Okay. I'm going to put them behind my back. See if I can find your card again. Uh-oh. Jimmy, I think I'm having a harder time this time. Finding your card. Uh-oh. I think I got it, Joe. Okay. Take these cards. Okay. Look at the top card. See if you're... No, that's not your card. How about the next one? Darn. You know I have an out in case that happens? You been guarding that box? Huh? Go ahead and lift the top off. What do you see? There's a card in this box. That's it. See it? I'll show the people home. See, there's a card in this box. But is that your card, Jimmy? Let's see. Okay. Take a look. Okay. Open it up. Yeah. There's your card in that box. Sammy, how'd you let me get in that box? I don't know. That's what magic's about, isn't it? You like scary? Do you like scary magic? Okay. Here's a rope. Okay. Check this rope out. You keep that card. Give it a pull. Give it a good pull. Okay. That's a real rope. Don't have any magnets in it or trap doors or nothing. I know it's a real rope because I got a good jerk on both ends. Okay. Ooh, that's terrible, isn't it? Okay. See this right here? Watch. Okay. When I first started doing this, I really choked myself a lot. Okay. See this knot that I'm tying? I'm going to actually pull that all the way through my neck. Okay. Okay. Well, let's go check out the hospital. And thank you, Jimmy, for doing some magic. Thank you. Did you ever want to be a magician? Did you ever like to do magic? Didn't you? Okay. That's it's not that hard. Okay. We'll see you at the hospital.
Staring into your eyes makes my heart come alive. Suddenly brought to life when I met you. Reaching beyond the skies, running deep, stretching wide. Perfect love realized, here with you. This words left beyond my control, out of control. This is real love, this is real love. This is real love, this is real love. Oh. Holding my heart to the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. In your heart I'm found. I want you, I want you. You won't let me down. You got me, you got me. Now this love is for real, you will never let go, never let go. Oh, and it's more than just words, not beyond my control, out of control. You're pulling me closer and closer, holding my heart to the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. Oh. Makes my heart come alive. Suddenly brought to life when I met you. This is real love, this is real love. This is real love, this is real love. Oh. Holding my heart to the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. Oh.
Hi kids, this is Mr. Sun from Wesley's Magical Playhouse. We're here at the National Weather Service in North Webster, Indiana. Here's our friend Michael Lewis to tell us how weather radios keep us safe.
Our primary mission is to save lives, minimize loss. And really the best way to do that is to make people aware of when weather's bad. The National Weather Service operates NOAA Weather Radio. The NOAA Weather Radio is designed to alert you when severe weather strikes. It's like a smoke detector for storms. When we issue a warning, the alarm goes off, you wake up, you check your weather, and you get to safety.